Hey, and welcome to another Joe Gomez jazz guitar lesson. We're still on triads, um, but you may have noticed that was a little bit different sounding, and what what I just played were called open triads, open voice triads. Some people may call them spread triads, um, but essentially it's the same thing as a normal triad, except your middle voice is moved up an octave. So if we take this first inversion, root position C minor chord, we have C, E flat, and G. So if we take this E flat and just move it up an octave, that gives us a really nice open voicing. And if we were going to, do voice leading with that, we would continue on. The next chord is an F major chord, or F major triads. It's actually an F7, but we know the C applies. We don't have a G in that. We'd have an A. So we move that up, or E would move up to F. It gives us this really pretty voicing. Here's how the triad sounds. Continuing on with that, we take our lowest voice, for a B flat major. We don't have a C, we do have a D. We don't have an A, but we do have a B. F stays the same. So it's essentially the same thing as this, which is a 5th fret on the A string, 3rd fret on the D and G string. Some of you may have noticed this really big stretch here for the E flat major. Don't let that scare you off. I have very small hands. I know you can't really tell, but they're tiny, and I can get this stretch. But one other thing you can do is you don't have to play this B flat here. You can actually move it up, so you get the same sound. So whenever you come across a open triad that's just a beast for you, try to see if you can move your new middle voice to a closer position. Most of the time, it's usually going to be some sort of 5th, if I remember right. I do prefer using these. They seem to flow a lot nicer rather than using a bunch of these. Yeah, other than just the sound, to practice these, I think that a lot of people will really enjoy the sound of these. I think they sound real pretty. It's a lot different from just your normal triad. There's some other really cool things that we'll see here pretty soon as far as making new voices when we get into making 6th chords and 7ths and so on. Some of you may have seen the trick already, but I'll save that for a future lesson so some of you don't get ahead of yourselves. That's basically all open triads are. I would practice them the same way that you learned your other voicings. If you wanted to do a C major, you do the same thing. We've already did the minor, but here it is again. We wanted to do augmented. We can't really do a diminished, but we could use our first inversion, which would, we'd have E flat. So yeah, we'll start at the beginning. It might be easier for some of you. Our first inversion is going to have E flat, G, and C. So it's 6th fret on the A string. Our G is on the 5th fret of the D string. And we have a C. on the 5th fret of the G string. So if we were going to make that diminished, we would have to make the G flat as well. So we'd have this kind of shape. We move that middle voicing up an octave. We now have so here's how it sounds as a triad, as an open triad. It's a little bit different sound. Yeah, I'd practice them, like that. I'd learn them all over the fretboard and all the different keys, and then along with learning songs, don't only just learn them using triads, but learn them using the open triads too. As you heard, I opened with Moving Through Autumn Leaves Again. And it had a lot different sound than when I originally did it with just triads. Like I said, there's a really cool trick here later that I'll show you in some future lessons. But I wanted to get open triads out into your ears, so I hope you enjoyed this lesson. Thanks.